down with your counterparts, Ukrainian counterparts, if they visit Washington next week for the funeral?
Well, I don't know if they're coming next week or not. I think President Zelensky had expressed an interest in coming. We've met. I mean, we'll meet with them. We've met with them often. We talk to them often. In fact, we saw them 2 weeks ago in Turkey. I would argue we've probably met with the Ukrainians far more times than we've met with the Russian side. And I'm sure we'll meet again in the future, whenever that is. We're always open to meeting with them.
A Trump statement about the bridges and the power plants. Just want some clarification. Do you rule out striking civilian infrastructure?
I think I saw, you know, guys, I saw Arachi, their foreign minister, who the other day say or something about their policies, an eye for an eye. The president's policy is a head for an eye. I mean, honestly, that's what it's going to be. I mean, they will pay a very heavy price for the things they're doing. They're already paying a very heavy price. You guys don't know it because you don't cover it. You're not in Iran. You're not in the street. They don't have a free media. But they're going to continue to pay a very heavy price. Their industrial base has been decimated. Their defense industrial base has been decimated. They're losing launchers. They're losing radars every single night. They are suffering billions of dollars in damage, and their economy is a disaster. But despite all that, okay, these people who are calling us every day, begging, let's do a deal, they send us messages through other countries, third countries. I mean, they're running out of countries to send. Even I had countries here coming up to me, oh, I just spoke to the Iranians, they want to do a deal. The problem is, every time people do a deal, they either break it or after they make it, they want to change the deal. So they're probably not ready to do a deal yet, but they will be soon because the price they're paying is very high despite their tough talk and their flowery language and their stupid Lego videos they put out. I've never seen them, but they put these things out on social media. Despite all that bravado, they are suffering tremendously, and they're going to suffer more until they come to their senses. They're not there yet, unfortunately.
Which countries came to you?
Oh, I can't tell you who told me that. I mean, then I'd be betraying the confidences. There's some of them that are here, yeah, and every day I get a text or a call or a signal message from a foreign minister. Oh, so-and-so called me. The Iranians want to talk. The Iranians want to talk. But the problem with these guys, and in addition to the fact that they're probably fighting with each other, is they make a deal, they agree to something, and then they decide, oh, let's change it after they made it. Or they agree, or they decide, oh, I know we made a deal, but we're going to violate it. I mean, these people, unfortunately, they aren't ready for a deal. I think they'll be ready soon, though.
Do you think there's going to be a big escalation by the United States in the coming days?
That's the president's decision to make. They're going to pay a price. They're already paying a price every single night. I mean, you can't do the stuff they're doing for free. They're going to pay a price.
On Russia and Ukraine, did you talk with Wang Yi about any influence that China might be able to exercise to help bring that war to an end?
We didn't discuss in our meeting. No, we didn't discuss Russia and Ukraine. We had a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Secretary, did you discuss with Wang Yi the issue of technology and whether that will be on the agenda for the September leadership?
Well, that's a broad topic. Technology, like what? What do you mean?
AI
oh, AI. Yeah, look, I think that they've expressed they'd like to see some global governance about what AI is governed by. Obviously, I'm not sure we're aligned on that point yet, but that topic has come up. I think they've expressed an interest in discussing what the rules are going to be for how AI is used in the future, and I think that's going to have to be an international conversation. So, we have some ideas about what that should look like and what those standards should be, and maybe they're different from theirs, but we didn't go into great depth on that topic. But it's an issue that came up in Beijing as well.
Just final point on Iran. What is Iran's off? Is diplomacy running out of time?
With Iran? I just don't think they're serious about making a deal. These guys, I mean, the more the president's gotten to know them, the more he's come to that realization. I mean, he said it yesterday, I believe. He gave a speech in Georgia. These guys, the problem with them is you can't make a deal with people unless they're going to keep it. And these people make deals and then they break it almost immediately. Or they decide, oh, let's change the deal. That's not how deals work. I mean, they violated the MOU within days of it being implemented. We kept our end of it, so now they're paying the price for it. And maybe they'll change their mind here over the next few days as they continue to suffer great losses.
Mr. Secretary, you know the Senate better than most anybody. They're debating the new military policy bill right now after the House passed it. One of the more controversial topics is about fusing the U.S. and Israeli military when it comes to co-production on things. Do you have any sovereignty concerns about that? If there are situations where the United States wants to send weapons, Iron Dome came up with Ukraine when the Israelis...
You asking about NDAA? Yeah, I mean, that largely the Department of War manages that legislative portfolio, so I'm aware of the provision you're discussing that involves cooperation on technology. And look, at the end of the day, the truth is we do that with countries all over the world, right? I mean, if somebody... Well, I haven't read the specific provision in terms to tell you in detail. I understand that. I understand the topic, though, because it's not new. On air defense, for example, we've long cooperated with the Israelis. Look, if we have a breakthrough in our system or they have a breakthrough in theirs, we could share that in a way to improve our own systems as well. So if they've come up with some novel way of defeating drones, for example, of course we would want to have that and benefit from it. By the way, they're not the only country in the world that we would do that with. We do that with other countries as well. So I think that's the provision you're referring to, and that's something we're already doing. I mean, that's something that already exists. But I don't think there's any, that's different from sovereignty. I mean, it's not like U.S. forces are going to come under the command and control of a foreign general or anything of that nature.
When Ukraine was asking for Iron Dome, the United States and some lawmakers, including Lindsey Graham, wanted the U.S. to send Iron Dome battery that was in the East Coast. Netanyahu vetoed that. That was the co-production.
But anytime you enter into co-production, we have those restrictions too. I mean, if we provide weaponry to a country as part of an agreement, they can't transfer that to a third country without our approval. We do the same thing. And Israel's not the only country in the world that does it. Other countries do it with their systems as well. That's just a normal way. When you do arms sales, part of the restrictions is you get to veto them passing it on to a third country. That's not just us to do it or Israel, it's every country.
Is President Trump coming to Manila for the ASEAN Leaders Summit in November?
I think he'd like to. I don't know what the schedule looks like, yet. I can't commit him to that trip because I don't control his schedule, but he was there last year, and I think that's something that we're going to talk about. It's an important forum, and I think APEC is a few days after. So, but I can't make scheduling announcements for you today.
Secretary, would you rule out running for president in 2028?
Do what? I'm not answering president questions. Come on, guys.
Do you think this visit has eased concerns about declining U.S. engagement in Asia?
Are there eased concerns about our engagement in Asia? I mean, we're engaged in Asia every single day. I mean, obviously this is a conference. We're here. We're participating. But we're engaged in Asia every single day. The Department of War is present all over Asia. The Department of State and our embassies are involved every single day in Asia. We have strong partnerships and economic ties to multiple countries in the region. Virtually every country represented here in ASEAN is someone that we deal with every single day. So there's a lot of competing interests in the world, so I think there's always going to be a concern that America is so focused on one place that it can't focus on another. But one of the great things about our country is that it is a large, powerful country. It has the ability to be present in the Western Hemisphere, in the Indo-Pacific, in Europe, in Africa, in the Middle East, and anywhere else where our interests are vital, including the Arctic, by the way.
Do you think it would be easier to make a deal with Iran if the United States didn't wipe out so many layers of their leadership? Trump often mentions that they're on the third tier now. Do you think it would be easier
to do what?
To make a deal.
Well, I think the first two layers weren't necessarily the nicest people on earth. So I don't think that, we'll just keep going down the layers, I guess. But I don't. The first two layers were not like reformers. These were not like Renaissance men. You know what I mean? So I'm not. I don't think that the layers are the issue here. Look, the system is at the end of the day, it's a country run by radical clerics. I think they have political people in their system. I wouldn't call them moderates, but they at least understand like that hyperinflation is bad. High food prices is bad, gas shortages are bad. But I think when you get to that clerical level, these guys are just oblivious to all of that, and they're destroying their country. These are the people. Understand, Iran is a rich country. Iran could be the richest country in the Middle East if they want it to be, but instead, they take their money and they use it and they give it to Hezbollah, they give it to Hamas, they give it to the Houthis, they give it to Shia militias, they give it to sponsor terrorism all over the world. They give it to try to kill people all over the world. They build drones and missiles and pursue a nuclear weapons program. That's what they spent their money on. If they had spent their money on their people and on their economy, today Iran could be probably the richest country in the region, if you want to know the truth.
Given that, is the U.S. seeking a regime change in Iran or just change in its behavior?
I think the U.S. is seeking a denuclearized Iran that will never have a nuclear weapon. The future of Iran, that's obviously, it would be easier to have people in charge that don't want nuclear weapons, but in the end, that's our interest. Our number one interest and the threat they pose to the world is these lunatics in possession of a nuclear weapon. And that's not going to happen, not as long as Donald Trump is president. I don't know some future president, or I know some past presidents have made some bad deals, and others just haven't dealt with the problem. But our issue and our concern and our focus is denuclearizing Iran. They can never have a nuclear weapon. I don't know how many times the president has to say that.
But this group of people who you describe as lunatics, I mean, if they decide to make a deal, the United States...
Well, some of them are lunatics, some of them are evil. Some of them are evil lunatics. You can be both.
So the United States is okay, comfortable leaving these evil lunatics in place?
They just can't have a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. I mean, imagine what they would do to the world.
What changed between now and the beginning of the war when the president made it sound like that was not going to be the case, that regime change was one of the goals of the war?
No, he never said regime change was a goal. From the very beginning, like from day one of the operation, it was very clear that we were going to degrade their missile launchers, their drones, and their factories, and their Navy. Their Navy no longer exists. There is no such thing as an Iranian Navy. What they have left is a handful of Boston whalers, but they don't really have they don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. Their air defenses are crushed. From the very beginning, Now, what the president has pointed to is the fact that the people of Iran deserve better leadership, and they slaughter their own people by the thousands. They shoot them in the head, they slaughter them in the streets. Yeah, we don't like that. I mean, we don't think that's good for Iran. But our goal and our national interest in Iran is they can never have a nuclear weapon. And that's what they were going to try to do if they had been able to hide behind double the number of missiles, double the number of drones. That's where they would have been in about a year had they continued on the pace of construction. Even though their economy was suffering, even though their people were suffering, that's what they were spending their money on, even though they had sanctions. The money that was coming in, they were spending it on those things. That tells you everything you need to know about them. All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks.
Secretary.
That one?
Thank you.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن